Hello, everybody. Dan Eden here, director and writer and editor of The Golden Apron, the latest Econ film production. It's a mockumentary comedy, a cooking competition movie, an ensemble movie, and we're going to dive into the trailer right now. So here we go.
The day of
There's
the
our
competition,
logo.
tensions are high, excitement is in the air.
All right, I want to pause already because that exterior and where we are right now, that is the Hive on Hubbard, which is the place we rented out for the third act of the movie, the final competition, as Wolf says it here in the trailer. Lots of great natural light. I believe other more higher budget productions have shot here before, including maybe Chicago PD or Chicago Fire, one of those Chicago shows. What we have is we already showed my brother Jeremy M. Eden here as Wolf Ulvin. Basically, I told him that we needed a character that would basically go and judge the characters, who would go to each of their houses, because that's how the movie's structured. And he jumped at the chance of creating a character that would enable him to visit each of these contestants and kind of less pressure on him and just able to be in a scene and just add his humor and his flavors to the scene. And without Jeremy M. Eden, it's not really an econ film production. And what's that behind him? That's that's the titular Golden Apron, which is one of the prizes of the final competition, which is what all the chefs are working towards. So who do we got here? We've got Ken Palmer as Anthony Reynolds. As Natalie Bobeck mentions a little bit about him. I'm going to cut another trailer where we get to know these guys a little bit better. But so without giving away too much, his story and one of the characters within his story and him by extension is kind of the heart of this movie. I'll just say that. There has to be a human element, I think, to these crazy mockumentaries, and with Ken's character and his storyline and the people in his life, we got that.
All across
So
these United States.
now we have Kara Brinkman here as Mary Lynn Hoffman. There's somebody who is trying to make a mark for herself, trying to stand out a little bit more because she's lived in the shadow of somebody else for a little bit too long, and she's been hurt, so she needs to gain her strength back. And I think with the Golden Apron, it's her opportunity to prove to herself and perhaps the world that she has what it takes, her individually. So Mary Lynn's a very interesting character, and I would say also by extension the emotionality of the movie is definitely attributed to her character. But there's more emotions that we're talking about here, and one of them is anger. So we have here, we have Sydney Kenilworth here, played by Madeline Matsey, and this is the first time actually working with her on one of our feature films. Ken, Jeremy, Kara, I've worked with all three of them before. Haven't worked with Madeline. Great to work with her. A total pro, very funny, and just knew exactly what the assignment was, which is perhaps something more of an antagonistic role. That's all I'll say. But at the same time, this is an ensemble movie, and you kind of pick your favorites, I hope, in the movie throughout, who you want to see win the Golden Apron, and it's anybody's match by the end. So I just love Bradley Bandkemper in everything I've seen him in, and everything he's worked with us a few times. I just think he's incredibly talented and a dedicated performer. And we didn't give a lot of preamble. A lot of it was exchanged via email, documents. I gave each actor a lengthy character bio that I hope that they could use, because all the dialogue is improvised. Every now and then we'd have to hit certain beats, of course, that pertain to the written story. But all the dialogue, most of the dialogue is improvised. And with Bradley, he had to put on a Kentucky accent. He's a Midwest native, I believe, and he's just such a great performer. And I can't wait for you guys to see how complicated and interesting and perhaps dark his character is, and what he has under the surface. So here we are at the Hive, and there's the Golden Apron, as I mentioned. Here's a very talented, very funny ensemble of performers that I know, that I've been very fortunate to know over the years. Everybody I worked with on this movie, I know in some personal capacity, or have worked with in some capacity in the past, just through Chicago theater, filmmaking. This is now our fourth feature film, so we've done other films with these guys before. Justin Hamby here, on the other hand, this is his first time in an Eek on Film feature. Sorry, Justin, to make you bear most of it here for this role, but as my brother Jeremy mentioned when he watched the trailer, he really stole the trailer with this moment here. And before that, let's give credit where credit's due. We have
Worthy of being here today.
let's go back a little bit further. We've got Mike Klapoff. Of course, you know him from An Intervention as Liam Crabb. If you've seen that, please go. If you haven't, please go watch that. It's on streaming services, including Amazon, Google Play, Tubi. It's free on YouTube also in its entirety on the Indie Rights channel. And it's in the same universe of this movie, but there is only a couple characters who come back for this movie. We repurpose largely the rest of the performers that you see or have seen in Intervention, including this role here from Mike Klapoff, who's playing sort of a backwoods Louisiana pro barbecue chef here. He's really piling on the seasonings.
To you, to prove that
There's my buddy Charlie Wine, who just dropped his GoPro. He plays Action Cam Graham, guy who's dedicated to more a conceptual aspect of cooking than the actual content itself, in that he's working with, I think, here, let's see if we can make it out.
to you, to prove
You can't make them all out, but he's got one on his head. He's got a GoPro on his head. He's got a GoPro on his wrist. He has a chest cam. I think maybe another one on the other wrist, or maybe just three. But we had at least 3 GoPros on him, and we had them all running simultaneously, and then we orchestrated that bit.
that you are worthy.
That was interesting. That's my friend Amanda Perry. I've known her since high school when we did drama together, and she, talk about a talented performer. Wow, so funny, such a big heart, such a great person, and I was so fortunate to get her to shoot, to ask her to shoot this little remote section here.
The end of the tape.
And now we're here in the Fern Foods Executive
Looking at the
Boardroom,
losers.
and there's Natalie Bobeck,
My name is
played
Natalie
by my
Bobeck.
sister-in-law
I'm the
Caitlin
Chief
Eden,
Executive
who is the
Officer
star
of
of An
Fern
Intervention. Speaking of kind of heel turns, minor spoilers, Caitlin's character in this is not as likable, quite as likable, arguably, as her character Chelsea in An Intervention. So it's interesting to be able to see the same performers in the same universe, but repurposed, and sometimes in completely different. They have different outlooks, different perspectives. Sometimes they're a little bit meaner. Sometimes they're more. Maybe meaner is not the right word. Maybe ruthless is the better word. But she's the
crew's here
ruthless
starting
CEO,
today.
and they're trying to
Glad to
peddle
have
their
you
gourmet
here.
days. Hey,
Making
there's
this
me.
documentary.
There's Kevin Kirchman and Patrick Lewandowski here. Pat's face. What can I say about these guys? These guys I've worked with. When it comes to the econ filmmaking, the technical level, it wouldn't exist without these guys and their dedication and their talent and just everything that they bring to the table, including such a fun atmosphere on the set, because sometimes, like, I can be a little too serious and wrapped up and just distracted by things, and Kevin's presence on the set is so great, and he's so funny in this movie. Like, as much as he got to talk as documentarian number 2 in Intervention, he gets to have a bigger role in this one, and he gets I think about as much dialogue as my documentarian 1, maybe even a little bit more in this movie. I'm not sure, but and then there's Pat, who's just you gotta love Pat. He's always got the boom. He knows sound. He's known sound since college and even before that. So now we're going on over a decade of his professional help and everything that he brings to the set. So wow, it's incredible to have these guys and still work with these guys. And yeah, I'm very lucky. There's Dean Rio. Speaking of lucky, we're very lucky to know Dean Rio, who gets to play himself in these movies, but he's not nearly as sleazy as his character in this universe. Please make no mistake. That's the ad for Fern's Gourmand Days that I mocked up myself, a little photoshopping, but actually, to give more credit, largely I want to give the credit to my wife, who's also in this movie, Katie Binkley. I don't know if that's her stage name. I think Katie Eden. I don't know what she chooses to go by. I think it's Binkley still. So she designed this Gourmand Days label because I knew that the movie was going to be about a corporation shoving a product down our throats in a very contrived way under the guise of something more sentimental. A cooking competition for real people, for home chefs who don't get the recognition that they deserve, as Keeney Hudson's character says. But Katie, she nailed it. She always does. She always nails the graphic artwork. She nailed it in Intervention, and she nailed it here. And so I came up with this little mock-up ad, and what we did was we did it in a light box. If you don't know what that is, it's just like basically a translucent box. You get like a storage bin. You could just get one of those at Walmart. Line it up with paper, and then place your subject in the middle, and just light it really well. And then the rest is up to post-production, really. So I'm happy how this ad turned out here. It pops. Feel the fern. Bad pun.
Bird Foods has announced.
Yeah, speaking of Keeney Hudson, we worked with her in an Intervention last movie, and she also works remote. I actually found her on Fiverr. She offers her service as she is an actress, but she also largely does acting and journalism, and she does I think active journalism itself. I mean, she does such a good delivery when it comes to just delivering the fake news that we write for her. I wouldn't be surprised if she did that. So she gets to be the same character in this universe as she did last time. Lisa Stewart is her news anchor name. She still works for the same channel, and I guess our teleprompter guy still has the same issues. I guess something about mentioning how he's going to change the ticker later because this is the trailer, and how he's giving away the scumbag producer's credit card number. So there's that.
Kitchen heroes who may not have
Now we're going to move on to
We've hired an outside expert.
how Natalie mentions that they hired an outside judge because they can't be bothered, so they got this new guy. They don't even know. It's kind of a joke in the movie. They don't know who hired him. They forget because they just kind of got lost in the bureaucratic shuffle. But Jeremy M. Eden plays Wolf Ulven, who is this, we don't know, vaguely European, according to Matt Lloyd's character Max, a space cowboy. According to Ken's character Anthony, maybe perhaps vampire. We don't know, but he is an interesting dude, and all the credit goes to Jeremy for creating this character. Basically, I think all I did was come up with the context of which his character was going to be there, and the rest was just him. All the dialogue was improvised by him, and he just, of course, knocked it out of the park.
You want to get in?
He's
will not
like
be
an
chauffeured
alien
around.
in this movie. He's very interesting the way he carries himself. So he just bucks me out of the car, and now we're going to go over really quickly who we already went over, which is Bradley Bankemper as Rockford Gustafson. This was fun. We shot this, God, where did we shoot this? Up in Bull Valley, Illinois. Yeah, I didn't know there was a Bull Valley until we shot this movie, but we met this lovely couple who were renovating their lovely property, and I think now they rent it out as part of an Airbnb. But they allowed us to shoot in their woods and use their porch for his interview portions. And nice as can be, and this location just perfectly lends itself to a dark hunting scene. And I understand if any PETA activists are upset about this moment here in particular. I tried to lighten it up by, that's my scream as the duck. I just kind of changed the pitch. And I know it's not funny to make fun of killing birds. I know it's a part of life still. I know I'm still a carnivore, so I admit to being part monster myself. But I think Largely, though, I was ready to take the brunt if anybody there was any backlash, which there hasn't been yet of any animal cruelty or anything like that. So, and now we meet Sydney
Fourth over
Kenilworth,
here. She's a badass
Madeline
bitch,
Matsey.
not gonna lie.
We
How many
rented
together?
this space. This is called Bright Walk in Chicago, Illinois, and they were renting out their space on Pier Space, and we needed a professional grade kitchen, and they offered it for a fee. And I got my performers in there. We got in, we got out, and it was so quick. We had them both make meals in this sequence. Actually, 3 meals were made total in this sequence, and Katie Binkley Eden, she's in this sequence as well. And man, oh man, this is it's funny because this was written and performed and shot, I think, just when season 1 of The Bear was airing. I believe we shot this in fall 2020, I want to say. And I don't know when The Bear first aired. It might have been 2020, 2021. I just want to say, all this to say, we did not rip off The Bear. No one has accused us of that yet. And this is a competition movie, so it's really... But this section of the movie, with the emotions and the anger just running rampant, this is very much our Bear section of the movie, and with Madeline and Josh poor Josh having to deal with Madeline's fury in this sequence, we got some good version of that, like an Eek version of that.
Fine.
So
What are you doing?
I have to do the big boy.
that was Sarah Burns, and of course that's Joshua Lee. I don't know if I mentioned that. That's Joshua Lee as Drew Kenilworth. Sorry, I definitely should mention that because he is one of the bright shining stars of this movie, and he is as you can see, the other head chef on his smock. I had that custom made as part of a gag, just sort of to reflect their battle for hierarchy within their kitchen, and it's just them two running it, so there's a lot of horns locking in this kitchen. But Joshua
Together just
Lee,
fine. Like, what are you
this
doing?
is his. I don't think he'd mind. That's my face is covering her up, but that's Sarah. Yeah, that's Sarah Burns, and the other woman that was someone who worked at Bright Walk. I actually forgot her name. I gotta contact her, and I did ask her, hey, do you want to be in this movie? Please. And she said yes. So it's not like without permission we didn't use we used her face or anything, but I don't know if she knows she's in this movie, so I should probably reach out to her. But there's Madeline bringing the thunder, saying she has to do the big boy job for him, which is I love that line. And now we get, like I said, the aforementioned heart of the movie. Really, there's Ken as Anthony. We just quickly did a quick pan from Matt Lloyd as Max. That's his brother, and they have basically a 2 men and a little lady situation here. They're raising their of course their deceased sister's daughter and brother-in-law. They unfortunately they met a tragic end, so now they're raising their niece, and she lives with them under the same roof. So we get to see some of that chaos, some of that humor, some of that heart that the movie so desperately needs. And Ken is great. He seems to be game for anything, and he throws a lot into the scene as well. As great as he takes direction, he added certain things to the scene as well. He's like, he said, Dan, I have a line like this. Would it be cool if I said it here? Or what if I did a move like this with the skillet when I'm cooking? Or just he was writing on the fly too, and that's great improv. And speaking of great improv, you got Matt Lloyd here, and he plays Max Reynolds, and he's a great supporter in this movie. I think you need him to add certain levity, because if it was just Anthony and Kim Kimura, played by Kimura Hamilton, so Kim plays Kim, it might be a little too serious. It might be a little too dramatic or a little too dark. And so, yeah, Max's character adds a little bit of levity. He adds a little bit of levity to this movie, and he's just so funny, and his energy is just, he always brings such a great energy to the movies, and he's one of the first actors we worked with when we started doing theater in Chicago. Same with Ken. Both of these guys, both sort of different energies, which is what I love, seeing them next to each other. And one's a little bit more manic, and one of them's more relaxed, and you'll see which is which. And Kim here, I believe this is her first time acting in a movie. I don't know how old she was. I want to say maybe no older than 12, maybe, when we did this movie. And man, she was so impressive, and I was so scared because I had never worked with children before in a movie, and I usually work with sort of R-rated blue material that's kind of immature. But everything was just so fun, and her mother was there on set, Teresa, and we just had such a blast, and she did such a great job. One scene that she does almost made us well up a little bit because of the context of the scene, but just how dedicated she was to the scene. So there they are. It's still they're at the hive. Now this is pretty quick. It all happened pretty quickly here. So that is I found that photo of you, Kara, and I hope you don't mind that I used it because I thought it was so funny. The light reflection in the dog's eyes was such a great touch to this photo. And her character here, this is at Rick Schuler's house where we shot, and it doubled as Mary's house. And it's interesting because Rick is Mary's ex-husband, Keith Hoffman, and they hosted a cooking show together that we'll see some footage of. These dailies here that you see, that's raw footage from their cooking show that they did together called What's Cooking at the Hoffman House. So Rick is playing a bit of an antagonist in this as well, and I know when he was in our first feature film, I Hate Theater, he was an antagonist then. So next time we work together, Rick, I promise we will make you a sweetheart, and we will make you, all the audience will want to hug you. I promise you that. But,
Sorry.
so yeah, that I love that moment where she apologizes for apologizing. You know, that redundant sorries is kind of an essence of her character. Just sort of this timidness that needs to, this shell that she needs to break out of still, because she's been kept down for too long by the wrong people. And now we wrap it up here. This is the final competition, intercut with some of the dishes, just a few of the dozen or so dishes that you get in this movie. So if there's one thing we took seriously in this movie, it was the food. But there is an emphasis on home chefs, as the news report in this trailer mentioned. These aren't Michelin grade chefs. These aren't culinary geniuses, arguably. These are people who excel in the house. Like, these are people who have made stellar just dishes for their family or themselves just on a weeknight. That's what the essence of the Fern Foods Golden Apron contest is in the context of this movie. And that's what we highlighted in terms of the general quality of the cooking, because I knew that we had a responsibility to make good food in this movie and to get the audience hooked on the food, but also I knew that I'm not a Michelin chef by any means, but I'm a decent one. So that's what you get in this movie. You get some decent food, and then maybe more than decent food, because I pushed myself. I came up with all the recipes, or I did variations of existing recipes for this movie, and I'm very proud of the dishes that are in this movie. I'm very proud. I hope the actors are very proud of the performances that they give in this movie, because it's not only funny, but it has heart, it has emotion, it has gravitas at times, it has some drama, it has a little bit of everything, because cooking, it comes from the soul, as they say. I think they say that. And I think this movie can't help but inherently have that within. But also on the surface, it's just a funny comedy. It's a mockumentary. So please check out The Golden Apron when it comes out in 2024. The sponsored by Fern Foods is just a little, gag, because I wanted to show just how oppressively present Fern Foods is in this movie, and that they're jamming the product of Gourmandaise down our throats, so much so that even the movie's graphic is getting their own graphics slapped on there. And then, of course, there's just this little, they call it a stinger, right? Or a button on a trailer.
Very well. Knock, knock.
And this is just a little,
I don't know.
I don't know who.
Neither do I. Will they be home later?
I love that moment. And maybe the joke is a little corny to you guys, but I needed their household, the Reynolds household. The characters are they I think they find levity in the darkness of life and the drama and just the conflict of life with humor, and they do it with practical jokes, as you see with the whoopee cushion scene and also the knock knock joke at the end. So I hope that movie whet your appetite, pun intended. Pun very intended, and I hope you check out the Golden Apron when it comes out in early 2024. The goal is I have most of it edited. I'm currently in post, and I hope to have it done by Q1 2024. So we'll see you then. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Take care. See you soon.